You know how when you make a mistake in bodywork, the hard edging of lights will pass through and then it'll make a zigzag? Okay, so if I were to be making mistakes, these lines would really help out a lot. Yeah, it'd make me have to be more critical. Kind of. These are more straight edge. This is more texture related, like when you learn to read this light. In the beginning when you're training somebody, I kick myself because if I had to do it over again, I probably would have made guys study a light, everything in the light, and take tape like I did and find every imperfection. I probably would have done that for like 8 weeks. When you're doing paintless dent repair, the real interesting thing that you learn, I don't even know if people understand it, they're doing it, maybe this has never been communicated, is you're reading the light, right? Your body guys are thinking about metal. We're reading the light. So yes, we're fixing stuff that might take me 2 days to do and it looks destroyed, but through the whole entire process, parts of it are about the metal, but it's the first 10, 20%. And then after that, it's all about the way that this light runs and passes through the panel and what it's telling you. LED, yeah. But a little bit different. So I saw a little bit of a high spot right here. And the way that, again, if we're talking about the light, if you took the light away, you really wouldn't be able to see it. But what the light teaches you, and you can see even like some factory things, is what's occurring on a high spot in the light, in my eye, I know this, is in the beginning you're looking for metal lift. The reality is the light at the edge of the white bar gets very bright, and then it gets very dark behind it because I'm on this side. So imagine if, this is a mountain, and the sun starts to set on this side. The shadow, right? And so when you start teaching like how to see and understand that, so when I'm tapping down right now, I'm not really thinking about the high spot as metal. I'm thinking about the high spot as in what's happening in the light.
You want to get rid of the shadow.
Right. And then I don't want to make any new texture. So I don't want to tap too hard. I don't want to, it's so minute, but it's right here.
That's going to come out when I sand it. Sandpaper will take that out.
No, I don't think so. You'd be surprised. It's metal lifted. Here, I did it like that, then you can see it. See, the thing is this is what will happen when you sand it and you think, right? Like, oh, I'll get it. What you're doing is then, you're like you got to feather it out, right? Because if you try to go after that with like a block, the edges of the block will dig way out here and hit, and you won't even know it's happening. And then this light will come behind it, and then find it.
Whole thing's getting primed.
Yeah, I'll find it though. So what I'm saying is, here's the beautiful part about what we're doing together. Is you could go that route, but why have a repair this big for something that will need nothing, right? Because when I'm done, you don't have to worry about primering it, sanding it, nothing. So I'm just gonna fix it and then be done with it. Okay, so that's done. I'm going to show you guys something that's every scratch, even if it can be sanded out. Okay, so let's just say it scratched, it can be sanded out. In the light, it reads dimension. Billy knows about this at Presidential because we do this together sometimes. I can actually go in there with this tool and I can split a hairline scratch. So before you even have to touch it with paper, okay? So all due respect to all the guys that are awesome at sanding, they're having to take down to eventually get to the scratch. I figured this out about 6 years ago on a complete desperation move. I was fix the job that was perfect and it had a hairline scratch in it and I wanted it gone, I actually PDR'd the cut because this can split hair. It can literally push that sharp, it can split hair. And I went in there and basically lifted the cut, not high, nothing. So the depth of the cut, shut it down and sanded, and I mean, instant removal. I don't have to really dig.
And how sharp is that?
Oh, feel this thing. It's,
So
yeah.
like you're saying to raise the value of the scratch?
Yeah, the valley of the scratch. So,
Oh, you don't have to level it up.
boom. Yeah, that's something that we're doing right now. We're working on doing some advanced teaching. We're doing some licensing. Some of the guys that we're working with, we're teaching this to them, and it's mind-blowing. Yeah, because otherwise it's like, you know, if we're trying to push the envelope, you know, to paintless dent repair, not the shop, on our shop level, we're doing some crazy stuff, but it started kind of killing me, like, man, I don't want to have to sand that much. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have to sand that much. Now, I'll do that occasionally from time to time when someone comes in and something like Matt's car, you know, like, man, dude, I'll do anything to not have to paint it. And we'll implore those techniques. But otherwise, you know, on a day-to-day basis, it's like, I'm not getting into doing that. I thought it would be really cool to start like wearing athleisure stuff to work. Like I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm not gonna worry about being, you know, polo shirt and all that anymore. No, it's too hot. Joggers and air conditioning in the summer, still too hot. It's crazy. I was like, I gotta get more like flexible. I'm getting older. I gotta get my competitive edge. Yeah, crashed and burned. I went through like Instagram got me with a couple of those ads, you know, like fresh, clean teas. That one got me. Junk. Junk. You have one on right now?
No, this is Los Angeles Carol.
Good for you. Don't. You. It's crazy how hard it is to.
Built or whatever it's called.
Dude.
Oh, I see them all the time. Yeah.
No.
Marketing company right there.
Oh yeah. Yep. I swear, I think I literally just went through like $800 trying to find stuff.
Like nothing's working. This keeps
And I have to wear them. You know, to find out if it works. And
It's like 2 weeks of wearing it. You're trying to talk yourself into it.
oh, dude, totally.
You're like, oh, this is it. This is almost
I just got to get back in the gym, man. This will fit way better. Yeah, Matt wants to keep this. And I didn't even talk to him, and I know Matt wants to keep his orange peel.
But that's the car, you know? That's what that wants.
I think it looks better with orange peel.
I find the orange peel pleasing. Like
Yeah, me too.
Exactly.
Okay, it's so small the light's not going to pick it up, but I'll talk about it. There's a tiny little low spot. I don't want to freak people out. Use this end. It's right there, and I think like the moral of all of this is really there's so many people I meet that come in the shop or call and like, oh, I'm a perfectionist. My car is perfect. Okay, newsflash. Matt's probably the only other person I know is as obsessed about things being perfect as I am, and he's more obsessed about it than I am. And the people who think their cars are perfect, I assure you, they're not. And so sometimes it's nice to just not know. In this case, this light shows everything and I see everything, so we're gonna fix stuff that is maybe not even to the, you know, trained eye. There's just this microscopic little arcing low that shouldn't be there. And I think really what it is for me is it gives Matt the one, because we're making a video, it's proof that it's this way, but you know, it's undisputed that his cars are really perfect or really close to being perfect, and that level of attention and knowing the right people and all that is really what it takes. So again, I'm in here, I'm pushing, you know, I'm not arcing off of the metal. Again, my hand was the pivot point. we're done, and now we're on to the door. It's kind of like a low bit of a gash right there. There's this little weird thing going on there, and I'll turn on these light bars. Maybe. You picking it up, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay, that'll probably help out a lot too. So, standard door ding. Something going on with the paint right there. Kind of just look down this door. There's just a little something going on, you know, in a few places that normally it shouldn't. So we're gonna attack it. So I'm just kind of thinking about like what and how do I want to go about it right now. This is a giant steel plate. And the backside is velvet. So if you think about what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in. Now I know the glass is like here, coming in like that. Okay, so this is going to go in. I leave it a little bit up. It allows me to push it open without me having to shove it in and damage the belt molding. That's what this is called. It's called a belt molding. So I want to have a protection and I want to have space between. So this is just going to go in. So what I'm hitting right now is the actual, when that door panel's off, is the tube beam that's running right through here. So this is sitting on top of it. Now, got this airbag. I can push, slide in. Okay, so plenty of space to get down and in. What I've got to be able to do is, I didn't even need that door panel to be off to know this, but I've got to get, you know, here's the tube, here's the skin, right? I've got to get on the inside of the tube and then arcing and back into that metal for that, you know, little crease right there in the corner. This one doesn't want to make it at all. So as I'm working in there, I'm kind of feeling around and knowing what it is that I need to do. I will try everything for you to be able to see this. Come on, go. Go away. I felt like Ace Ventura just now when the flies are flying around him. You know what I'm talking about, and he can't move. Come on.
It's just that one fly. Oh, got it.
I just need the chopsticks, and we'll get all of it, all the movies, right now. Okay. So a small dent like this, I mean, I pushed on it, I don't know, 20 times so far. I still got to blend it. I still, you know, a lot's going to go into it. I'm going to take this out. And then I've got to get my eyes with the panel, and I need to get down the line. So I've got to come in like this, kind of like hugging this door a little bit on the inside to hold myself. So, you know, this is where staying in shape and being somewhat athletic helps. I mean, if I, you know, was 100 pounds overweight, I would not, no, I wouldn't have been able to do it either. I mean, but it is what it took. I mean, if I got down here and did it, then my eyes don't get with it, you know? So if my eyes are like this and I'm not like this with the panel, I'm leaving the potential to not be perfect on the table over, you know, something that I could control. All right, so that one, what is that little imperfection?
I think aluminum more difficult to work with.
Yeah. Yeah, I see something I don't like right there. Yeah.
All right, so
That little thing I don't like, I'm gonna kind of start looking at that now. At least it'll limit the potential of any kind of body work or anything that needs to be done in that one spot. Gotta get your eyes down that line. It's the only way. If I go into this position like this, I could open the door, okay, and then I could come in like this, you know, and then I'm in this position, which is easy, okay, but because now the light is closer to the dent, watch how I back that out and the light backs away, then what's called flooding, meaning the light's too close. So this is where a technique where you start to identifying orange peel issues, and then you can kind of manipulate the light. Yep, orange peel helps. Yep. Okay. Let's see what that looks like now. Wow, way better. Wow, man, that looks a lot better for body work, whatever that was, right through there. Okay, we know those are high spots from the airbag. That's not supposed to be there. So you can PDR bad body work after. You can fix it to some extent. I mean, it's really, you can fix anything, and you know, if you know what you're looking at. I thought you were gonna say, is this stuff easier than a dording? Like a straight dording, like a gash right in the middle of the door, is easier than this. Because what happens with this stuff is if you aren't, and I mean perfect, if I take this away and I start trying to shoot, like imagine, because everything I do is reflection based, right? So if I'm using like the door, I mean, look how far the door is away. Because this car is so perfect, the door is almost like a mirror. So then if I start like going like this, and this is how body guys are, and this is like the Riddler Awards. The Riddler Award is judged this way. They look like this, right? They start using depth and they start reflecting off, and then they start shooting down, looking to see how straight the car is. The light, I have to have it to do my job, but then I come like this. I mean, it is this section of this door, I mean, the whole thing, and that made me find this thing that I don't like. Like right where I worked, right here, it's just, I mean, it was not like that when I first got here. It just wasn't that perfectly straight. So, you know, I know that the rest of the car and everywhere I've worked is now, and it didn't require body work to do it. So now is the next thing, which is another one of those weird kind of body type things that are going on right there. So I take this out. I'm going to move everything over. So now I'm on that black cardboard fiber board that's on the inside of the door for sound deadening. This is right on it, so it's possible that what makes it look like body work is actually just the fiber board on the inside deteriorating, just weakening, the glue weakening, and it will suck inward. We'll pull the metal inward. So this is pretty blunt. I don't want to make sure that that happens again, so I'm going to go to something just a hair sharper that I know will penetrate through it versus just moving the board, right? The board is right up against the back of the skin. I want to move through the board just a hair. So you're just kind of like almost denting it. So that way I'm not worrying about this coming back again if that is what it is. So. Okay. So Mike, I'm coming now looking this way. Okay, so what I'm after now is just like right there. Not so much that, but like right there. That's what I'm gonna try to fix now. Okay. Now I'm going to clean up this little section here through really just tapping kind of the edges of it down. It's like chop. So I'm just going to kind of bring the chop together. Well, hold on. Sorry. I'm in the process of thinking right now. Learn each tool. Yep. You just, yep. You learn each one, and then you use it for something. You remember that you used it for something, and then, you know, it's kind of, I don't know, man, this is a really hard thing to explain. There's just like no substitute for mentoring.
And I'm sure there's like, you can use like some tools completely differently from what they're like, you might figure out like.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I can
1,000%.
use this tool actually to help.
1,000%. Dude, 1,000%. There's no written rule. It's all, hey, can I get this in there? And then does this give me the most leverage, cause the least amount of damage? You got to think on the inside too, like, what is it that you're doing? You know, what are you doing on the inside? So like, you know, people that are watching, yeah, we could have taken this door panel off. Didn't need to. Now, the first couple years, it's like, you know, you are just so, I think it's like, you just never stop learning. I mean, you really don't. I mean, all the new cars come out, new engineering comes out, they change something, they change the metal composition, they change the paint, they change the design of the, you know, the crash beam. So like, that's why I did that Tesla video, because the whole inside of a door of a Tesla is one big beam. It's just like, there's like a little triangle this big, that's like, maybe it's like that big, that's open. The rest of it's all bracing. Versus this car, there's one tube, that's it. So. So you guys hear, do you pick up like all the different sounds?
Yeah, it's definitely a different tone to it.
Different tone for different reasons. Right around here is a big spot of glue where the backing plate for this whole thing to bolt into is at, and the glue's kind of failing, so it's trying to suck down. So as I move around, some of them are hollow spots where, you know, I'm hitting is more thudding, and then that is right on the backing plate.
Sound good.
Okay. Done with that. Now we're on to the last piece, which is the sunroof panel.
You can do nothing with that underneath the handle, the edge.
Let me see.
Got 12 minutes on this.
Okay, so what we got is we got kind of a little cluster of dents right here on the top of the sunroof filler panel. Okay, so it's the, you know, most cars this would have been glass. In this case, it's metal. It's a metal sunroof. It's also, you know, because it's metal, it's got a piece of headliner material, you know, attached right to it. Part of it is glued on. So I've got a glue pull. And the reason I'm going to glue pull is because I don't want to be intrusive to this. I don't want to have to take this panel off and out to take the fabric off, reinstall it, fix the dent, put the fabric back on. I want to be able to get this job done clean, efficiently, perfect, but yet if it came down to quality, you're paying for me to take it all apart, because if, you know, that's what needs to be done, I'll do it. But I'll always start with what is the least intrusive thing that I can do to the vehicle. Like a ninja, man, we really weren't there. So glue gun's warming up. Now I'm coming down this angle, so the light is actually matching the dents, the way that the bottom of the dents are created there. They're created at the same angle that the light is at. So it's off to one side on purpose versus over here, because I want to be able to kind of maneuver my head and then make it catch it that way, and then I'll move it eventually all the way around this car so I can check from every angle that I'm fixing it correctly. I'm going to go with the smaller one first. So glue has to be on the center of the tab. If you were to actually zoom in and come and look, the dispersion rate of the glue completely around that tab is perfect all the way around. So glue's got to go in the center of the tab. You got obviously a seconds of flash time, this case, because it wasn't all the way hot, and then you've got to be able to put that in the center of the dent, which is what your center is determined. Once you've done that, which glue pulling seems so cool and easy and all that is, you're blocking everything that paintless dent repair is about, which is vision based. Now, better hope I put it on right. Better hope I do a lot of things right here. So I'm gonna look through here only because it's a sunroof frame. I know it's very soft, and I'm kind of getting an idea of how hard I need to pull. The biggest mistake you could make is if you just came in here and you squeezed this trigger as hard as you could. I mean, you probably could ruin the panel. I mean, I would say unrepairable no matter what. You can see how thin it is because I'm just barely doing that, and it's making it flex. So bigger, shallow dents are a little bit more tricky to glue pull. And so, because I have the light set up at the angle I have it set up at, I can actually get it and come down the line and then turn and come this way and still see it. So I'm kind of getting, you know, about 90 degrees of viewpoint. What I'm doing right now is I'm actually just bringing down not the high spot that I created, but I'm bringing down some of the edging of the orange peel. This is a little over here. Out here was a little bit of a high spot that occurred, if you think about it. So it got dented, metal eventually had to go somewhere. It vibrates, it makes its way out to, you know, to the edge here. It's more structure here, this is less structure. Metal shoots up, high spot. Dents are never just the center of the dent. You know, if you see these dents and they're like, oh yeah, I've got a dime-sized dent. Like, you know, a dime, by the way, is 0.75 inches. It's like that. That's the center of most dents, and you could see a dent that has a center like that, but the dent could actually be that big.
So you like work around
the circumference.
folding.
You got to look at the circumference.
Yeah.
where does the edge of your circumference, you know, so in this case, you did a good job at getting it picked up on video. I'm gonna just show, that's how big this dent really is. The center though is half that size, which is the center that's defined visually. This guy. All right, so I don't want the glue to stick as hard this time, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull pretty quickly before it ever hardens. So the bigger the dent doesn't always necessarily mean the bigger the tab. Okay, just because the dent is that big doesn't mean you put a tab on it that big. You put a tab on it that big, it's game over for the sunroof filler panel. It's gone, it's done.
You're pulling more than just the center now.
You're not pulling, yeah, you're missing the center. You're just,
You don't
You're-
do PDR.
okay, so dents are circumferences and everything, right? So if you think about it, what you'd be doing is you'd be lifting the whole panel up and the dent would still be right there. Yeah, you'd ruin it. But some of the glue and some of the tabs and some of the things we have now, you could just literally hook them up. These guys right here, any dent guys that are watching it that are, you know, I would say, never used them, thought they were junky. These are like the old, very first type tabs we ever had. And what they do is they create like almost like this suction cup vacuuming type of, you could put 2 here, boom, boom, as long as it's completely polished and really set up for adhesion. And you could hook onto them and I would bet you could start to rip the fender off. You could pull the car, you could move the car. I mean, so that's kind of where it's getting to with some of this stuff that we're using. All right, so. What do we got? 3 pulls so far? All right, so I would say I'm probably right around the 50% mark on this dent.
So here's the question. Like when you have to break the tab off, are you factoring how much, like, you know, you do your little pulls, are you factoring for like pulling a little bit less because you know you need to break that tab off?
Yeah,
or-
of course. Well, I'm not pulling any less, but I'm being very careful. I'm not pulling any more.
Yeah, so 'cause,
Like-
like those are very like intentional, like tight, fast pulls you're doing.
Yep.
But that's like a long, slow pull. So is it actually pulling a little bit more on the panel when you're breaking it, or is it just
Only if you do it wrong, you would do it. If you grabbed it and turned it, like so if you grabbed it and turned it sideways when you pulled it, then yeah, you would stretch it. So I'm just pulling it straight up. No, so I don't ever need to do this. I'm not kidding you. I never need to look through anymore, like to see, but in this I do. So do you want to feel? Come feel this. Remember, you can't twist it, okay?
Yeah, just
This
straight
wrist
up
cannot.
pushing, so yeah.
It's crazy, right? How are you gonna get that off?
So that's a special glue though.
Yeah, it's a glue just for our industry. I mean, In the beginning, when we didn't have anything made, we'd go to Walmart.
It works.
Works. Not like this stuff though. But like right now, you could take someone who's never been trained, like, you know, you could, it's like Thor's hammer, like, oh, learned Captain America could actually lift it, right? And you're like, how are you gonna get this off? And you, like,
shoot, it's stuck there now.
it's like, oh man, oh my God, what am I gonna do? You just have to be patient with it. That's why some of them I will pull quickly before the glue sets up, but it's some weird strength that you have to like have on sometimes, like, and then you got to be able to do it with control. It's just you don't think about it when you're learning. You're like, you know, you grab it and you turn it, and what will happen is you'll just stretch it and then dig in the edge and then make a dent. You'll like have a dent like over here, and you're like, yeah, it made more work. Yeah, you could do this by hand if you wanted to. You could, you know, you're talking about like these different tools for different reasons. I mean, you could put this on, and then you could take vice grips if you wanted to, and then grab the tab and like pull up. Or you could use your hand and you could pull up. You could get a result, but I mean, you know, could you get a perfect one? We used to have to, man. I remember the first time I learned to slide hammer, I had to do exactly that. I had to take vice grips. Slide hammering is this thing. This is even before that these were available for glue pulling, which is just the only reason these weren't available is this thing we didn't have this attachment. We had nothing to pull a tab, right? And so I would take a rag and I'd tie it around this, and then I'd have this like that and a towel. Boom. And then you have to hold the towel like that. You know what I mean? Like that, because you can't let the vice grip touch the car. I mean, we didn't have anything. Okay, so angle change shows me something different now. Basically, the dents were running this way in the beginning. Now we have low spots that are running kind of this way. And that's not because of anything that I did. It's just that these are sections of the dent that I didn't do yet. You think about a circle. It's like I didn't fix this section of the circle over here. So the reason they're shaped this way is because visually I couldn't see them running long, called runners. They're tiny, but they're there, and they gotta go. This is our longest video. Somehow, a car I didn't think had really any dents on it.
This puts me at 16 now, Walla. Get that one on the fender.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep, sure does. Could you guys see some of them or no?
I didn't even look.
Didn't even look.
Off pure gas. I was like, I'm gonna say 16.
Killed it. Okay, so basically where we're at is I'm done. Because I glue pulled so much, one of the things that I noticed that I saw is the little micro rings of the glue kind of like, after sitting so long, it kind of just changes the clear a little bit. So I took a little Trizac 5000 and I polished over the top of that right there. And now I'm gonna hit it with microfiber. I've got Griot's Fast Correcting Cream. I didn't bring a Rupes or anything like that. I didn't even think I would polish at all in this car. But this is just gonna be a single polish right here on this. And it's gonna conclude. It's kind of exciting. Oh no, I got that dent in the fender.
Oh yeah.
16. That's it, there. All right, one little tiny, maybe nothing of a dent left. I saw it when I was working on the door. I didn't see it in my initial scan of the inspection that I did. Nonetheless, I don't like it, and I'm gonna get out of this car. Cover this. Here we go. This is gonna be it, minutes away. It's like watching the ball drop. You know, I swear, if I could play golf the way I did dents, I wouldn't have ever met you guys. Like my wife asked me, are you nervous to go do that? I'm like, no at all, zero, zilch, nada. No, just work on like, you know, where everything has to be so perfect. You know, there's just like, the room for error is 0, even coming in here like this.
Have you ever messed that up? Is there a
Painting?
moment?
Start there. I was standing on one of those like aluminum benches and I slipped and fell and the door was somehow slightly opened and I kicked the door right into a pole. So it was pretty bad. Unfixable, PDR.
You would think it's like, oh, let's fix it.
No, unfixable. Scratch the paint, like,
Everything's fixed.
yeah. Let's see, what was one of the worst things? Oh gosh, okay. I never caught a car on fire or anything like that, so that's good. Had a fire in the back of my car once when I was transporting tools because the battery connector, a tool fell and went over both of them, and it was, and then there was a little fire in the back of my car. That was kind of a oh, you know what moment. But as far as like a big mistake, the worst mistakes that I seem to have ever made has been burning paint through pushing the envelope. Trying so hard to get like embedded paint transfer out. Clear coat, man, is crazy what it can handle, like what it can take. It can embed, it's thick. Yeah, so that's probably, you know, even today, I probably still make that mistake. But this one, 0 mistakes. Matt, 0 mistakes. This is what we got. This car is ready for you, Jose, in the background. There is not a single imperfection as far as metal is concerned that's left. So that puts all the pressure now on you. The only one that's left is that previous bodywork that really just needs to be blocked out. Other than that, didn't have to take anything apart. I think total time was this, what, 2 hours? So 2.5. And that's me going at a pace where I'm talking. So if you're coming into the shop and you're like, how long would something like this take? I normally just ask people to drop it off with me for a couple days because I don't want to rush. But if you had to put a gun in my head, a clock timer on, I'd probably get it done in an hour. Yeah, so if anyone's curious about how much something like this would cost, usually the minimal that I charge for a metal correction with this type of damage is about $700. It could get up to $5,000 if you had, you know, significant damage and you're like, you know, hey, no matter what, you know, I'm about to restore an air-cooled and I do not want Bondo, and I do them. I don't do them as much as I would like to do them because I don't think people really know what a metal correction is, and I might need to trademark it because I swear I think I was the first person to ever say it, like metal correction, and that's because I hear guys saying paint correction, but really every time you fix a hail damaged car, you're doing a metal correction. So this is like a microcosm of it. So what better person after 17 years of doing just hail to kind of start doing stuff like this? But that's how much it would cost. A job like this is about right there, entry level, $750 to do. I would say cost-wise, that might seem like a lot, but value, I don't know, could you put a value on it? No way. No Bondo, I mean,
Cheaper than painting.
it's cheaper than painting. Way cheaper than painting if that was the route, but even if you're gonna paint, you're gonna do body work.
Yeah, plus the benefit of keeping it original if you wanted to retain that.
Oh, if we're gonna go there, that's a whole, man,
Yeah.
whoa, we could talk
That's all I
forever.
think about, you know?
We could talk forever about it, yeah, because, yeah, you know, there could be an argument. Like, I'm sometimes surprised when I'll do something like, let's say this door was creased, like here, you know, and I have to take the door completely off the car, and I've got to do everything, and I'll write it up for like $1,300. I'm like shocked when people are like, $1,300, I'm never gonna pay that. I'm like, dude,
Yeah,
I'm doing it for so much cheaper than even other dent guys would do. And plus, if I don't fix it perfect, it's free. So what do you have to lose? If you take it to a body shop, it's over. So the second it's out of body shop, it's done. It's over with. It would never can be perfect again. And there are some guys out there, man, that will really go that far with it. Again, thanks for having me on. That's awesome. That's it. Thanks, guys.